Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 215 of the NintendoFuse Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's canceling Rampage. They went on a rampage of canceling everything recently, and we're going to talk about that. But to do it, joining me, my name is Steve, but joining me is Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey, always a pleasure.
And also joining us is Greg. Hey Greg.
Hey everyone, always love being on here.
For sure. And we're gonna have a blast talking to you guys about all the news that we've got going on. There's not a whole lot of big news tonight, but there's some interesting news going on, and I think it will generate some good discussion. And speaking of which, we would love to hear what your guys' thoughts about all the different things that we talk about tonight. So if you're joining us live, be sure to throw your comments right there in the live chat room here on YouTube. But if you're listening or watching after the fact, we'd still love to hear what you guys think about that. You can either join our Discord and just share all of those different thoughts right there. You can also join us on social media. Just follow us at NintendoFuse on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or you can just throw your thoughts right there in the comments here on YouTube after the fact. We would absolutely love to hear what you guys think about all the different stories that we talk about tonight. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple weeks because we got our Game Awards show that's going to be coming up just a couple days. Well, actually, not our show, but Jeff Keighley's Game Awards is going to be coming up in a couple days, and then we have our own game of the year is going to be next episode. So episode 216 is when we're going to do our Game of the Year awards. So it's going to be a really exciting next couple weeks. And then we are going to be taking a break for the holiday season. We'll be back in 2021 with our next episode after next week. So we'll be on next week for episode 216, Game of the Year awards, and then back in 2021 with episode 217. If you guys have not subscribed yet on your favorite podcast app or YouTube, be sure to do that. Hit the like button if you enjoy what you see and you hear. If you have not subscribed or if you haven't hit that bell, be sure to do that so you can be alerted every time we post a new video. All those things just really help us, and be sure, of course, to share this with other Nintendo fans, other video game fans out there. It just kind of helps us grow this community, which has been just awesome to be a part of. And again, we've said this before, but one of the big reasons why we do this is because of you guys. So thanks for continuing to kind of help us grow this community with more and more gamers. But before we jump into the news, of course, we're going to talk about what we've been playing lately. And of course, we're going to go to Greg first because I don't know. I said of course, but I don't really know why. Just, of course, we're going to go to Greg first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just like last week.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Following tradition, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so actually kind of forgot to fill it out on the outline, but that's pretty decent because I already obviously know what I've been playing. So still continuing on with Animal Crossing. Finally caught the last two fish and the last the sea creature for December. So now I'm just missing the final two that come in March and the final bug once it starts snowing. So got my golden fishing rod and finally excited to be done fishing. So now it's just kind of on chill mode and buying all the different toys for the toy day coming up and any other miscellaneous stuff I find at Nook's Cranny or the clothing store. So trying to get all festive ready for the holiday season.
Cool.
Also, still going on with Mario Kart 8. This time we dipped into it, but my daughter's already ready to challenge people around the world, so we're playing online now.
Nice.
So, battle mode, we're certainly getting creamed unless we're on the Renegade Roundup where we're on the winning team. But other than that, we're pretty much getting creamed because there's people with 49,000 versus points that we're matched up against. And so definitely not very good there, but some races she's been doing decently. She's getting she got a second and a third a few times, and other times she'll get usually between sixth and ninth or so on average. So obviously not the best, but still pretty darn good for a 5-year-old, I would say. So she's already figured out how to drift, so that's kind of starting to help her do a little bit better in this. So that's been a very fun experience watching her grow in my favorite game. one of my favorite series, I should say.
Cool.
And also on Switch, I did a little bit more Super Mario Sunshine. Still kind of plugging away, trying to get a few shines here and there when I can. I did finally check out the Age of Calamity demo. I beat the first stage and got some of those side items, quest things, or whatever that you can do on the map. Hoping to continue on and complete the demo before I get the game on Christmas. So I have an update on that later next week. Let's see, I think that just about wraps up on Switch. Wii still was playing Mario Kart Wii along with Mario Party 8 and 9. Those are staples now to be kind of rotating between them all. So nothing new on Wii. Pretty much gave up on the GameCube already, so nothing there. And then probably just mobile. We're still playing Fire Emblem Heroes, and then surprisingly still participating in the next Mario Kart Tour Cup. So kind of getting into a little bit to see if my daughter would like to try that eventually. But trying to unlock some of her favorite characters like Peach and Baby Peach and Rosalina and such. So she was kind of nervous to try the first time, but I'm still trying to grind through to get some better racers and stuff. So
Nice.
pretty much it for me this time.
That's cool. Greg, I feel like this year has been the journey of your daughter finally like getting into games, and she's like ramped up like all this way. Like she's, from Paw Patrol all the way to like now challenging people online in Mario Kart. That's awesome.
It'll be nice to see after Christmas how we got everything too. So
Yeah.
I'll
That's cool.
have that surprise for the first podcast of the new year. So let everyone know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Barry has disappeared, but I trust that he'll be back. But we'll go to the chat real quick. Just a quick couple shout outs before we jump in and see what you guys have been playing in the chat. Speaking of which, if you haven't put anything in there yet, let us know what you've been playing. Roberto, hello. Basement Dwellers in there. Also, Jakester, of course, is in there. I'll say, of course, there because he's always there. He's one of my biggest fans. Shout out to Jakester. If you haven't seen a couple episodes ago when we brought Jakester on, you should definitely check that out. Dave's in there, of course, as well. 29 is in there. So lots of cool conversations going on. Jakester says that he got back into Trials of Mana, saying it's an awesome game, by the way, and still playing FGO and Genshin Impact. 29 says he hasn't played in months, unfortunately. All the crazy election stress is over. Maybe he can catch up. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. So hopefully, definitely, you can get back into gaming soon and kind of relax and chill. Of course, Dave says he completed Kid Icarus Uprising and Concrete Genie and Yakuza 7. That's awesome. And then Jakester also, he keeps forgetting to do the Wonderful 101 demo. And Basement Dweller says he's replaying Breath of the Wild after he had some very strong feelings toward Age of Calamity. I have also heard that people have some strong feelings about that. I have not finished the game myself, so I am trying to avoid all of those opinions and thoughts out there so I don't spoil anything. I'm interested to see if I also have some strong opinions at the end of it as well, because I feel like a lot of people have. Greg, have you been hearing about the strong opinions of Age of Calamity?
Not too much, and obviously it's more exemplified now because I've been seeing it like in our Discord. We've had like basement stuff discussing that, and definitely didn't want to click on any spoilers because I want to see it for myself. Doesn't sound too promising to hear that.
Yeah.
Some people that with some strong things, and especially hearing like this false advertisement kind of stuff, that's kind of scaring me a little bit. So I really hope that it's not as bad as everyone's making it seem.
Yeah, me too. I'm really hoping, but I don't know. People definitely have some strong opinions, so we'll see. Barry, you're back.
Yes.
Welcome again.
Thank you.
But we were just talking about how some people have some pretty strong feelings. I know Basement Dweller has some strong opinions and stuff about Age of Calamity. Both Greg and I have kind of stayed away from it yet because we haven't completed the game. But yeah, have you heard of the strong opinions? And do you have any of your own?
I mean, very few. I mean, I know
Okay.
Basement is very outspoken about it, but I didn't have the same feelings as him. I think it comes with the marketing, and it was just marketed as one thing, and it's half of that.
Okay.
So if you have a more open mind in the sense of, okay, I see what they're doing with this, I think you can enjoy it a little more than if you were expecting A, and you got, half of A. You didn't get all of it. And I can see if that's what your expectations were, being a little disappointed for sure.
Gotcha. What else have you been playing over the last week?
Yeah, I apologize for that. I had to take care of my dog.
That's okay.
But so on the Switch, really not much. I played just a little Animal Crossing. I really haven't used the Switch since finishing Age of Calamity. Speaking of, I was about to go move on from Spider-Man, and I realized, oh yeah, I went from Spider-Man right to Miles Morales. I forgot to do the DLC because there's story missions in Spider-Man Remastered that take place in between the first two games, and they're short little things. I mean, it probably took maybe 3 to 4 hours just doing the stories for all 3 DLCs. There are additional stuff to find if you want to play it. I just didn't feel like scouring the city for random new collectibles. I just wanted to see the story, and I liked it. I liked what they added with it. It definitely was a nice bridge in between Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And from there, I went into a game I've been anticipating, which we will be talking a little bit about, which is, of course, Immortals Phoenix Rising. And I'm still playing that. And on the PC, Final Fantasy XIV just got another patch. It's actually patch a day because it's got brand new content, new story. So I've been having fun with that and just hanging out with the community there, which is great. And mobile, doing a more Dragalia Lost, the new crossover event still going on, and the apparent leak, data mine leak of the next crossover event has me super excited. If you like these type of crossovers, Persona 5 getting a crossover apparently with Dragalia Lost, which has me super excited. And still doing Mario Kart Tour. Happy to see Greg has joined the fray and been able to give him some coins. Having fun. The next tournament, the actual next league actually ends tonight. I gotta do a little better. I gotta race a little more. But yeah, I still have fun with that game.
I'm still rank 1 in mine.
That's awesome. Yeah, you know what? That's great. Just check it because tonight midnight Eastern is when the cutoff is. So if you're still 1 at that point, good job.
I am
I think
not.
it's 1 o'clock Eastern because mine ends at midnight. But
Oh, your
midnight Central Time.
Reset is midnight, but the tournaments end an hour earlier than reset.
Oh, okay.
So your reset is midnight, but it will end 11 o'clock for you.
Well, you guys have fun with that.
I don't really like. I do have to say I'm not a huge fan of the touch controls. I would greatly appreciate a controller, but
yeah.
I really struggle a lot with the. I'm like, if the smart driving wasn't turned on, I'd be like not being able to score at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Going off the course.
There's 2 different modes. Like there's like advanced and there's the lesser. I'm actually using the lesser. I don't like the advanced. I do worse in advanced control. So I don't know which one you're doing. But
I don't know. All I know is there's like a little steer circle at the bottom, and that doesn't really work too well. And I'm trying to drift, and then it keeps shooting out my item. So
yeah,
maybe you're at the Switch modes.
You might have automatic item use turned on or something like.
Oh,
There's something like that too.
Well, that is turned on, so that's more applies to when you actually pick up the item boxes. So
okay.
I'll just be trying to drift, and I'll press and drag, and then I'll fire the green shell.
Yeah.
Drop the landfill.
I had got my hopes up when they introduced the landscape mode with the on-screen controls and all that thing. I was like, oh, cool, this would be awesome. And I actually, weirdly enough, I prefer going back to the tradition, what Mario Kart Tour's traditional controls are. But yeah, if they had a controller, it'd be so much better. But like Barry has said before, it's a different game. And I've just realized I don't like that game.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So let's see what they've been talking about in the chat real quick. Dave talks about so he had some thoughts around Immortals and connection with Breath of the Wild, which we'll maybe get into in just a second. Roberto says people seem to love Age of Calamity. I'm not a huge fan of that genre, so he hasn't really checked it out. And Basement Dweller says he's been thinking about getting Phoenix Rising, but the combat doesn't look to be his thing. Jakester also says with how much he enjoyed Breath of the Wild, he's enjoying Genshin, and he's looking forward to trying Immortals one day. So yeah, I know, Greg, you haven't gotten it yet, so we will stay away from any spoilers and things like that. But Barry, I'm interested to see what you think about Immortals Phoenix Rising now that you've got some time with it. I've had a couple weeks with it. Been playing it a lot more, and in fact it's still playing through that, getting ready for the review and all that things, so I have not played Age of Calamity nearly as much as I would like to have by this point, but yeah, what do you think so far, Barry?
I'm honestly loving it. I am playing it, I'm doing PS5, and I am doing it on the story difficulty, which is the easiest difficulty. I just want to explore, I want to have fun, I want to see the story. That doesn't change the puzzles, it just changes like the combat and your health healing. So I like the puzzles. There's some really good puzzles in the little tombs. A lot of physics-based puzzles, a lot of challenge to them, especially like the gods arena where you have like you can actually save and quit and come back later on. I want to say I'm 3/4 of the way through the story. I've done 3 of the like I restored 3 of the 4 gods that you're supposed to restore. I don't know how much more there is after that, so I can't say exactly how far I am. However, there is a crap ton of collectibles. There is a crap ton of items, and it's one of those things where it does something cool, which I kind of wish Breath of the Wild did, and other open world games take this type of system and use it, where you can anytime you could hold down R3 and you go into this first person and you can look around the map and it like will start vibrating, and when you highlight it, it'll be like push R2 to reveal and it'll tell you what's there. So you go to the highest vantage point and you can just keep looking for items and mark your map, and then when you open up your map, there's every item, and you could like click one to put like a marker to, so you go to it. It makes it so much easier, because otherwise it'd be a pain in the butt to find all this stuff. And there's so many things still to find, and there's hidden quests, there's hidden enemies to fight, there's daily challenges if you log in for cosmetic items, and there's also actual challenges just within the game. I have not seen anything for real money or anything, which is, well, I think there is. There's like a Ubisoft shop which you could spend real money for like special hairdos and stuff,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Not worth it. But the game, like I don't have the season pass. I didn't do the bonus quest, because like when you buy the game, it comes with a code for a quest. But I'm just having a blast. I mean, it's just fun. It kind of brings back the Breath of the Wild feeling of that open world exploration. And it's kind of interesting because doing Spider-Man was open world, but Hyrule Warriors was not. And it was like, it's kind of interesting to bounce back and forth. And unlike Spider-Man, which I did not really feel the need to try to collect everything, Immortals, I do. I'm trying to, should I collect everything? Should I upgrade everything? And so far I am, and I'm just having a blast doing it.
Nice. So I'm going to echo most of what you're saying. It is fun, and it's getting more and more fun as I get into it, which is cool. Because I think some of those games, like there's an art on how to like ramp up the enjoyment as you continue playing. I think that's really important. And I think games like Super Mario Odyssey, I think, is one of those games that I had more and more fun as I kept on playing. It was really cool how they kept doing that. And I think this is one of those games that I think I'm enjoying more and more, which is why it's not a huge task to like keep playing it instead of Hyrule Warriors. There's definitely a lot of Breath of the Wild connection in there. Dave mentioned it in the chat as well. Yeah, it's so similar in so many ways. It's not a ripoff at all, but it's very similar in a lot of ways. Just even how like Yeah, how there's like 4 different gods you have to go rescue. Weird. And you can climb things, which I love. Like after Breath of the Wild allowed me to start climbing around, I wanted to do it in every game. So I'm so glad that I could do that in Immortals. But here's the deal. There's other things about this game that are making it tough, and it actually has nothing to do with gameplay necessarily or the story or anything like that. I'm enjoying that. It's more fun than I ever thought it would be, because there's, like I said last episode too, there's comedy, things like that they're throwing in there, and it makes it an enjoyable experience. But there's a couple things. One, I don't like the voice acting. It throws me off that like they're like Russian accents. Like I just don't feel like those people should be speaking with those accents. It doesn't. There's this disconnect, I guess, with me and the voices and the characters in the game. I don't know why. Maybe other people have different opinions on that, but I feel like there's a disconnect. And then I don't like the camera at all in the game. I don't know if that's a specific Switch thing. I don't know if it's a lower frame rate issue or what, but I find myself kind of getting sometimes a little nauseous, like moving it around with the right stick, changing the camera around. I'm like, it's a little jarring sometimes, and I don't like when it settles back down. It's too low. I want it to get higher. And I don't know. I haven't messed around with the controls, and maybe I can actually change that around a little bit. I don't know for sure. But the natural default where the camera settles behind the main character is too low for me, and then so I always am having to push it up just a little bit so I can see over and see what's ahead, especially as I'm running and jumping around on different platforms and things like that. I have to push the camera up all the time to be able to see a little further ahead. So
well, the voice acting, which is the same all across, I find fun. I like it. It does not bother me. It does not take me out one bit. So that's just, I guess, one of those, you love it, you hate it, or you're indifferent. The camera, it might be a Switch thing, I don't know, because I've had no problems with the camera, with the one exception being when combat there is no actual like lock on, so enemies can like teleport behind you, and you have to swing the camera around. That is the only thing I wish it did have a lock on.
Yeah,
but it's, I guess, at least on story difficulty, that's really not an issue at all.
right.
I usually get sick by a lot of these things. I do get some vertigo, and not once has it. Some weird thing. I don't know if this. I'm sure the Switch does it because the PS5 does it. It's kind of weird when you're flying through the air and boosting. Everything else kind of gets blurry around you. I don't know if you've seen that or not. That's like, and maybe like on the Switch screen, that's not as big of a thing. But like on an 8K TV, let me tell you, you notice that blur, and it's like, what's that down there? I'm like, oh, I'm squinting to see. Hold on, I got to stop boosting. Okay, you know what it is. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
Yeah, it's not nearly as bad, and most of the time lately I've been playing right here at my desk and like on a computer monitor, which is like 24 inches or 27 inches, something like that, instead of a giant 8K screen. So it's not as noticeable at that, but yeah, I think they add the motion blur to kind of add the whole movement thing. But yeah, I can imagine it at that big, that could be a little more jarring than on a smaller screen for sure.
It's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But I like that there's a lot of customization in this game. Like Breath of the Wild, you had different weapons and stuff. This you have, a sword, you have an axe, you have a bow, and then you could change those around. But you upgrade them. You could upgrade them whichever one you want, and it applies to all axes, all swords, all bows. The only difference between them is like the secondary stat, like the bonus it gives you. So you can really pick any axe, an upgrade axe, and it's going to be stronger. Or same with the armor, same with the helmet. But what's also cool is you can go into further customization with not only your moves, because every move you get, every special move, you can upgrade, and sometimes you need to for puzzles. And they actually use some really clever uses for some of these special moves. So you think like, one of the moves is Ares thing. I'm sure you have it already, Steve. You have to buy it, where like all these spikes come out of the ground. and and it's like, oh, this is really cool as an attack. It drains a lot of your stamina, but it's really cool. But, and here's the big but, there's a secondary use that the game doesn't tell you, but if you play around with it, you could figure it out, and that it acts as a third jump. So if you jump in the air and do a double jump, you can then use this mid-air and get extra height. But you can actually do it up to 3 times mid-air and actually do like 5 jumps, which allows you to skip certain portions of like different trials and stuff, which is interesting. And there's dashes, you could dash in the middle of the air and bypass things. And there's a lot of cool usage for these combat attack moves that lets you just play around. And I like that. I like when you can think outside the box. And then there's the potions. Have you played around with the potions at all?
Just a little bit, but actually, before we jump into potions, I noticed something when you were talking about like you can jump around and everything. Early on, I realized that you can, like for instance, the bridge, like you need to get over before you get wings. Like I got around there in a different way, like as you totally can, and so it's tough, and I don't know, like this is another one of those art things, but like it's an open world game, but there's linear elements that, like, if you try to progress, I went over there and spent like a ton of time trying to figure out what do I do, and then all of a sudden I went over here, did this thing, and then it sends you right back, and now you can continue in the story. So that's kind of weird, where sometimes if you skip too far or skip to other places, you're not able to actually continue the storyline that you need to, and you need to actually backtrack and stuff like that. So I almost wish like they would have kind of Metroidvania kind of stuff, like close certain areas off in a certain way and not allowed you to get there if it's not going to like cut off. Like, yeah, sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. Yeah.
There's like one area where I knew there was a crypt, and I'm like, there's a crypt here, and I get there and everything is locked. Like all the torches have the lock on it, the pads have a lock on it. I'm like, why is it locked? And she says, like, I don't have what I need to come here. And I'm like, what am I missing? Like, what do I need? And I realized later on it was part of the story, and I had to be there as part of the story, so it wouldn't let me actually access that until the story allowed me. So I do like it tells you. It will also tell you if you're missing god powers. Like if you go to one of the crypts and you can't get the chest, because every crypt has at least one hidden chest, it'll say like you need the god power, certain god powers to get the chest. You can't get the chest while you're here, so you don't waste your time. Other crypts you try to go and access, because it's not just like shrines where you just go into them. A lot of the shrines in Zelda you had to do a puzzle first. The same with this, and it'll be like you need a god power to do this, and you don't have that god power. So at least it tells you so you don't waste your time. Then it's kind of fun to figure out, all right, which one am I missing? Which one do I need to upgrade? And it's not necessarily missing, it's just missing an upgrade.
Right. I do like all the different ways that you can upgrade and customize too, and it was actually a little overwhelming because I didn't realize, wow, this game has a lot of that. And then part of me I get sucked into little different side things sometimes, and all of a sudden I was like trying to customize things and upgrade things. I was like, oh right, yeah, the game, get back to that again. So you can definitely kind of get sucked into all those other things. Looks like people are talking about your TV a little bit in the chat, but also, Roberto says the camera issues sound like a huge bummer. Yeah, and it's interesting. I wonder if it's Switch versus PS5, like which different versions. So yeah, as you guys play the game, I'm interested to see. We're interested to see what you guys think about it, especially if you're playing on different systems. That's another reason for you guys to join our Discord, so we can keep on talking about this game and see what you guys think about it as well, especially if you're playing on different systems, because I do know sometimes they have, especially like frame rate stuff and things like that could vary from system to system, and that could be a big issue. And also I'm sure like your TV has the ability to make that even smoother, where my computer monitor is not doing that too. So who knows, there could be a lot of different factors playing into that too.
Absolutely. Just briefly before we move on, I just want to touch on the potions quickly.
Oh yeah.
Because like Breath of the Wild had food, this has potions which you make, but I don't know, when in the menu when you make the potions, you could actually click the center and upgrade the potions. I don't know if you've done that yet or not.
No.
Okay, so when you make potions, there's 4 different kinds of potions. There's one that restores health, there's one that restores stamina, but then there's one that ups your defense and one that ups your attack for 90 seconds. But then you can further enhance them, and you could like I'm working on the attack one. So I boost my attack up to 100% now. I also heal myself 20% per damage. Every 20% of the damage gets back healed to me, and I stun them 60%, like boosted to the stun damage. While that's in effect, which just makes me destroy things. And
On
it's
top of already
fantastic.
on the easiest setting.
In fact, yeah. But I mean, and then like the health potion starts off weak and you can make it stronger, same with stamina. And then the defense does the same thing where you could up the amount of defense and stuff. And I like that. Even that has a customization effort. So you could go the whole game without ever using the potions, or you can utilize them and abuse them in a way. But it takes resources to upgrade them, and it's not like it's, I'm going to do it right when you start the game. Like, no, it's going to take you a while. But it is a really cool, additional part to the game.
Yeah, that is true, and it makes you want to upgrade those things and get all that stuff. There's incentive there, which is really cool. So, Greg, once you finally get the game, we're interested to see what you think of it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry about leaving you out of that discussion.
Yeah, I kind of figured, but it'd be nice. I really hope that camera thing, I don't notice that, because that sounds like it would be a pretty big downer.
Yeah,
are you playing only docked or only on the docked?
Docked, yeah.
Computer, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if bigger TV if you wouldn't notice it.
Maybe, but I've been trying to record my gameplay and stuff too. But yeah, I mean the swinging around and that kind of camera stuff is okay. I understand sometimes you have to do that, but I really don't like where it settles, where the default settling of the camera is, and so that's what I'm hoping. I need to go back and check the settings, because there's some pretty good settings on this game, and so you may have the ability to change where I forget, there's a name for it, but where the dead center of that is, or something like that. And if that's the case, then cool. Then I may not have as many issues with it. So. But let's move on, and we'll talk about some stuff that Greg can actually join in on. So there is a little bit of news this week, and it's interesting because we talked about Nintendo, canceling this Smash Brothers tournament this last episode, and now come to find out they canceled something else. They had their official Nintendo or Splatoon 2 in North America Open, and because kind of connected to the whole cancellation of the Smash Brothers tournament, of course we discussed, if you missed that, essentially there was a big house, is that what's called, big house tournament, that had a hacked copy of Smash Brothers Melee that they were allowing people to play online because of the pandemic and everything. And so Nintendo got word of it and canceled the whole thing. It was a big mess, and people got upset. And so they actually took to this Splatoon 2 tournament, and there were some people out there encouraging them to use free Melee kind of names in their team names and things like that. And we're not really sure exactly why Nintendo canceled the live stream of the finale, but we're pretty sure it's connected to all the everything connected with the backlash from Melee and everything like that. And then kind of two stories in one. On top of this, Nintendo has also recently issued a cease and desist to Captain Alex. He made some Joy-Con covers, shells that kind of in honor of Etika and his passing and everything. And all the proceeds were going to go to mental health charities and things like that. It was going to be a really cool thing. But Nintendo has actually issued a cease and desist because mostly probably because of the trademark issues. I think they're kind of pending an opportunity to get it back up and everything like that. He's going to take down the Joy-Con language and the Switch logos and stuff like that. But kind of two stories on top of the tournament last time, and not really connected, but we also have all the Mario games and the Fire Emblem game and everything else is basically getting canceled at the end of March 2021. What's going on with all this stuff? I know there's some real reasons why Nintendo would make these kind of decisions, I think. But it's just an interesting thing. It seems like they're going on this rampage lately and just like cancel that, cancel this, cancel that. And in the middle of our cancel culture already, like what's Nintendo doing with all this? What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, that's definitely a big misstep. I don't think they actually canceled the Splatoon 2 thing. I think they just were not going to live stream the finals. So
yeah,
I think
they just canceled the live stream.
Yeah, so like just the live stream was canceled, and I think what I've heard, it just sounds like they didn't want like the announcers to keep saying, "Oh, Free Melee 123 is in first place, and Free Melee 123 is now going to the final round," and like that's what I've kind of heard, that like was more like the announcers didn't want to bring a lot of attention to it because they'd have to be reading the names of like the teams or whatever as they advanced in different places or whatever, or even getting knocked out, like, oh, Free Melee has been defeated kind of thing. So it's bringing more people to that cause, obviously, because Nintendo did a cease and desist at Big House. So I think that was pretty nice of the Splatoon players to actually show like homage to the Smash Brothers community. That was really nice. Like, we're come together and supported them. It really stinks that Nintendo just didn't want to advertise this to go further, so that's in itself is a kind of a big bummer. In terms of the Etika thing, that's also very disheartening. It's like he took his own life and was just made in honor of like him, because that's like that was one of his like nicknames was the Joy-Con Boys or something that he did quite frequently as part of his streams. So that also kind of hurts there too, that they would do a cease and desist on for that.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense, with all of the trademark issues and, technically, like we talked about the Smash stuff, it's, it involves hacking and Nintendo doesn't like that. And of course, like you said, they probably don't want to be announcing some other things that, that they kind of goes against a decision they made and everything. But Barry, like, even though they have good reasons for all this, like, I don't know, what do you think?
Nintendo has a habit of being anti-consumer to a fault and then retracting it. I mean, just remember what they did with YouTube, right? They had the whole YouTube partner thing and that pissed off a lot of big YouTubers who wanted nothing more than to freely advertise Nintendo products. And that blew up in their face. So now we have this. As you said, there's probably a good reason. I'm sure there's a guy in a suit who's never played a video game in their life, who's looking at the law and being like, oh yeah, well, this goes against it, let's stop it, without any form of human decency or reason other than the fact that they can. And it hurts those that are passionate. I mean, the Melee tournament we talked about last time, I mean, that was a passion thing that was done by people who just wanted to have fun and play the game, especially in a COVID world. Then you have the Splatoon 2 tournament, which was official, and they stopped the live stream. People dropped out of it. I mean, it's not nice. And then the Etika thing it's a charity thing, man. That's a charity thing. I mean, he's selling it, but he's not making money. The charity's making money. If he was making money and profiting off of it, then I can see them saying, you know what, you're using our trademarks. But it's a charity thing. You know what? If they were smart, they would look at that as good publicity and say, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna match the donation, whatever the final donation is, we're gonna match it. Hey, you know what? That puts Nintendo in everyone's good graces because it's for a good cause. They have a lot of money. I mean, that would be pennies for them, whatever it is, to donate, and they can write it off on their taxes because it's a donation, right?
Right.
So let's be honest here. That would have been the smart thing to do, and instead they're pissing people off, and that is something you don't want to do, especially when Sony just drops a PS5 and Microsoft just drops an Xbox Series X. You want to get people on your side. You want people to say, whoa, I'm going to still back Nintendo. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always love Nintendo. I'll still support Nintendo, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nintendo is, does a lot of bonehead decisions, and a lot of the decisions I do not agree with.
Yeah, and especially right now. I mean, decisions like this throughout the year. Okay, whatever you look at, but it seems to be adding up right now. It's like every week we have one or two more stories that we're like, oh, look what Nintendo's doing lately. What in the world? Instead of coming out with some good ways to compete with their the other brand new systems that are out there, and helping to be more consumer focused and building some hype and all those different things. No, we're gonna stop producing games. We're going to cancel some tournaments that are using our games and getting people excited about our games. We're going to not do this other one because it makes us kind of look bad, and we're going to act out on our trademark stuff, which legally makes sense, but on the other side, like you said, Barry, I mean, like, how much cooler would it have been if they said, you know what, technically yes, this does infringe on our trademarks, but you know what, this is a good cause, we're gonna actually support this, and doing something like that may actually turn the public around on their thoughts, especially because you just ticked a bunch of them off for Melee and Splatoon. Maybe if they actually did something nice here, they go, you know what, maybe we can overlook this other stuff a little bit more because you just did an awesome thing for these charities that are supporting mental health and things like that. But
absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, there's such a thing as good publicity, and they say like there's no such thing as bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity. That's not true. Definitely publicity gets you in the public's eye and gets the public talking about you. You want them talking about you positively, not negatively.
Yeah. What were you saying, Greg?
Yeah. I just can't even believe this. Like, this is like, I almost want to think like, oh, here's the Switch Pro, but it's only going to be available for 1 month, and then we're taking it out of the shelves. Like, good luck getting it. Like,
only available in Nintendo New York store.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
And this is just getting out of hand. Like, I totally agree with what you guys were saying. Like, they should definitely have just turned around and supported for like a charity purpose. I really don't think they should have even canceled their coverage of the Splatoon 2, because then that kind of shows that they're trying to like hide it and everything. And they should just almost reach out to Big House, like, oh, sorry, we sent you this. Like, please go on and have your tournament. And I don't know. I mean, it's probably the damage is already done, but like they can't keep going through with this because. Especially during like this holiday season when they really need more people to be buying their console over the competition. So
yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the chat. There's been a lot of conversation around this for sure. Let's see. Man, I gotta keep scrolling. There's been so much conversation around this. Jakester's saying that Alex actually just launched a new Indiegogo for the Joy-Cons, and he's raised quite a bit of money so far. He says almost $37,000 so far, so that's awesome. And then Jakester says he also plans to make an Etika back replacement for the normal Switch. So that's really cool. But yeah, he also says this is probably one of the worst PR stances that Nintendo has ever made, and really proves how upholding they are. But 29 actually has some interesting thoughts around. He works for a Japanese company, and he can say that corporate culture in Japan has extremely rules oriented. Policies are enforced for their own sake without much consideration for flexibility, which does make sense. It is a kind of a cultural thing. Jakester says that just think about Sega and Capcom. They helped out fan projects though, and they're also Japanese companies. But he also says 29 says that some global companies here are good at community, but Nintendo in particular is super traditional as far as he can tell, which definitely does seem to be the case. Even though they push the envelope in the entertainment industry as a whole at different times, as a company, they seem to be very traditional, and go about things that way. No matter if this is benefiting a charity or not, technically you stole our trademark thing, so we're going to shut you down, and that's just how it is. Sorry, but we have to uphold, what we stand for. And it, I get that. Part of me goes, okay, that makes sense. But at the same time, the other part of me goes, but really, in this case, like, can't you get around it in some way? I don't know. Especially since you went and ticked a bunch of your fans off already. Maybe it's time to like rethink how you're going about stuff. but so so that's that. Love to continue to hear you guys' thoughts. Throw them in the comments, Discord as well, and keep this conversation going. I'm sure that it's not something that's going to be going away anytime soon. It's probably going to be a while where they are able to maybe bring back some fans and make them happy again, or who knows, by next week maybe they've canceled something else. But only time will tell.
What's next? Cancellation Metroid Prime 4.
Probably. That's also going to go away. Even the trailer's going to go away on March 31st. But let's move on and talk about something exciting. Next week we have our Game of the Year awards. It's going to be really fun. These are some of our most fun episodes every year, where we get to look back at the year of gaming and rank a lot of the different games that we've played or had the experience of watching other people play and just all the cool stuff that's happened. This year is going to be an interesting year. We were just chatting about it the other day, how like this year with COVID and everything else it could be one of those years where who knows what's going to pop up on our individual lists. But if you guys are new to the NintendoFuse podcast, essentially we have several different categories. We're going to go over those categories in just a second. But all three of us will rank our top 3 games in each of those different categories, and then we share them one by one, kind of go through those lists and share why we nominated it and chose it for our top 3, and then all of those are compiled, awarded some points based on where they placed in each of our lists, and then we award an overall winner for each of those categories. Actually, we don't really. I don't know why I said that. We don't do that at all. We don't award an individual winner. We just share our winners for each category of ourselves. And then those points go to the overall winner for the Game of the Year. So each of those will kind of culminate into our one pick that is the NintendoFuse Podcast Game of the Year for 2020. And we just wanted to go over these different categories with you. Number one, so you know what to expect, but also we would love for you guys to be thinking about your own Game of the Year based on these categories. And throughout this next week, even maybe write down your picks and be ready to share them in the chat. You can share them in our Discord as well, and that way we get to interact with you guys and see what you guys pick in this as well. So I'm going to throw these on the screen real quick so you guys can actually see this. We're going to be talking about the best indie Switch game this year. So best indie Switch game, those are all the ones that fall into that category of non-AAA, from the slightly discounted to the $1 game, those indie games. We're also going to talk about the best third-party AAA Switch game. So that's the top of the line games that cost like $60, but not Nintendo produced ones. These are the third parties. We're also going to be covering the best Nintendo developed and published Switch game. So those are the ones that traditionally we call first party, maybe second party also, but those are the ones that Nintendo characters, IP, all that stuff fall into that one. And then we're going to move on to the best game on a non-Nintendo system. This is a new category that we're going to be discussing this year about the games that are on other systems. And we all have various experience with that. Barry plays games on other systems all the time. I kind of I sometimes dabble in that area, and Greg is strictly Nintendo. So it's be kind of cool to just kind of talk about what other games are out there this year. And then back by popular demand, we're going to be talking talking about our worst game of the year. Those are always fun to like talk about. Which games did we absolutely hate playing this year, and then finally we'll award our overall game of the year. So as you guys look through those categories, you hear them, write them down, and start jotting down your ideas and your thoughts about what your picks are as well, and be ready to discuss those in the live chat next week. Yeah, Barry, you got any thoughts about our Game of the Year awards at all?
Yeah, so one thing we do want to mention is the previous years, what we've always done is we've done January to December.
Oh, yes, yes.
And this year, and if you go back and listen to 2017, you'll hear me infamously give Breath of the Wild Game of the Year over Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because I had a whopping 3 days to play that game, and I did not get nearly into it as I should have, because there's just no time. So this year, what we're actually doing is we're only doing January to November, and next year's Game of the Year will be December to November. This way, because we're doing this in December, not every game is going to be out, and not every game will we have the time. And some games that come out, we're not getting to Christmas, so we want to give December, which is what like the Game Awards actually does, put those to the following year. So only January to November are counted, which means Immortals, which game we were just talking about, doesn't count. It is for next year. It is not going to be in this. I mean, if it's your game of the year, absolutely you tell us about it, but it will not be factored in our picks. The other thing is, when we get to share these things, it's going to be really cool, because some years we've had it where we all pick the same thing, and I think those are the most boring years, because it's like everyone I also did this, and there was one year in particular, I think it was 2018, where we all had different picks until like the very end. And I think those are the most exciting years, because so many games get talked about. And I think this year, just my own prediction, I don't know what anybody else is picking. I'm just going to hypothetically say that this year was going to be another one of those years. I think we're going to have a lot of diverse picks, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Greg, any thoughts?
Yep, and I know traditionally we've also had Hassan, and unfortunately,
yeah, babies do that to you.
That is true. So we do have, as we talked about already, there the game of, I think we're back. All right. I think we had some issues streaming there. I think it was the Game of the Year, or the Game Awards website was taking over my computer and running all the resources out. It is a very busy website, so apologize for that. Let us know in the chat if you guys if you see us back again, if we're live again. Hopefully we're
It's
doing
back.
that. Okay.
Dave says it's back.
Cool. So sorry about all that, but yeah. So Game Awards is happening just in a couple days on December 10th. So I just thought before we move into kind of some headlines and head into the near the end of, closer to the end of this episode, what are your predictions that happen for the Game Awards just in a couple days? We'll kind of quickly cover the winners and everything like that next episode before we jump into our own Game of the Year awards and things like that. But yeah, we shared about how poorly the nominations went this year in our last episode. So if you want to hear about us bashing on it, check out last episode. But with what we have, do you guys have any predictions this year? What you think is going to happen on the Game Awards on December 10th? Greg, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I'm really hoping that Animal Crossing gets some nods, because that seems to be Nintendo's main game that's representing this year. So at least I'd like to see when at least a category like the best family game or something.
Mm.
I definitely don't think it deserves like best multiplayer, but get that one, I guess that'd be pretty good. It's probably not Game of the Year material, but I would still like to at least see it bring something back for Nintendo at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it has been very inspirational. Got a lot more people to get Switches. It was a primary game through this awesome year 2020 that we've had, and brought a lot of people into the series. It's pretty much getting close to outselling Mario Kart 8 within its first year. So I think it's well deserving of something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Barry, you got any thoughts about What's going to happen this year?
As for the awards, I honestly don't really care. I'm more interested in the world premieres, and this is going to be the last chance for the year for Nintendo actually to show something. It's been a little while since the last partner direct at this point, and been a long while since the last actual Nintendo direct, not counting that Mario 35. I'm hoping to see something for Zelda and Metroid's 35th anniversary being shown off. I'm hoping to see a brand new Nintendo Switch exclusive title revealed. Last year we had like Bravely Default 2 shown off. Maybe even one from Nintendo, which would be cool. Just really want to see some surprises. Sometimes a world premiere may fall flat, sometimes it may be great. But I really want to see some really cool, something like, oh my god, E3 caliber reveal. I don't know if I'll get that. I probably won't, but that's what I would like to see.
Yeah. Again, we have to set our expectations properly, but we've been shut down so many times before. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I hope games like Animal Crossing, it's probably going to win the best family game of the year. I would assume, but yeah, I hope it gets some more nods. I mean, it's not the top of the line AAA game that like, oh my gosh, this is like high fidelity, everything's amazing sort of thing. But it took the world by storm this year, and you've got to show some nods to a game that does that and just hits at just the right time and provides people with exactly what they want, and sometimes what they want, but they don't even realize they want until they get their hands on it. Like Greg had never played Animal Crossing before, and now all of a sudden he's totally in because it's exactly what he wanted that he didn't even realize he wanted. And the same for his entire family as well. But yeah, I hope to see a bunch of premieres as well. I mean, we missed out on that from E3 this year. It'd be really cool to be able to get some experiences like that at the Game Awards as well. But let's go to the chat real quick and see what they're saying. Yeah, Jakester says that the Game Awards are never really watched for the awards, Steve. It's for the announcements and the trailers. That's also true. I'm pretty sure this year I'm going to be sitting and just having it in the background like I did last year, just waiting for that world premiere thing. And then I look and I go, and I go back to whatever I'm doing, maybe playing Rocket League Season 2. And then Jared says that he can see Animal Crossing winning something, but not Game of the Year. Yeah, probably the case. He's hoping for Breath of the Wild 2 trailer and a world premiere. That'd be awesome. He'd say Metroid, but he doesn't think they're there yet. Maybe Bayonetta. That'd be cool. We haven't seen anything from that one in a while. Dave says maybe the infamous Metroid Prime trilogy will be revealed. That could be something that we could see for sure. Jesse Glenn says it's so hard for me to be like, yeah, Animal Crossing, you did something so special and necessary in the most crucial time, a candle in the very dark place. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And Dave says that it's between Last of Us 2 and Animal Crossing for the Game of the Year. So he's stepping out and says it might happen. I'd be very surprised. It'd kind of be cool to see Animal Crossing win Game of the Year. I don't think it would happen, but it would be cool to see it. Like, yeah, what do you guys think? Does Animal Crossing actually stand a chance of winning Game of the Year? What do you think, Greg?
I have really no idea how it's going to go. I mean, it depends on a lot of things, really. I don't know if they take votes in from fans or like how this is even.
Yeah.
If it's just
You can vote right now.
Yep.
Go to their webpage.
Just make sure it's the only thing open on your computer. It's going to shut it down.
Is there like is it any weight applied to that vote? Is it like pretty much everybody's votes that come in will go towards it, or
I think
there
there's a
like
committee and then people vote. Then they take the online votes as well and they factor it all in.
Yeah, I can't remember the weighting on each of those. They explain it on their site. I think it's maybe like 75% from the committee, 25% from the public, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's that much more for the committee, then I probably don't see it winning. But I would say if it was the other way around, I could see maybe like Animal Cross actually winning because like how it came out at that time when everything was shutting down and more people picked it up just to have something just to relax to do at home. I mean, it's not the most competitive game. It's got bare bones like multiplayer aspect and some probably things that really should be fixed by now that haven't. But I would be happy to see Nintendo actually get something like that if they did win. But
Yeah.
that's why I don't know which way it could actually turn. So
Yeah.
it is the committee has the bigger say. I definitely don't. I really don't see it picking Animal Crossing unless there's something I'm not aware of why they would put that more weight on that.
Yeah, Barry, do you think it stands a chance?
I mean, I honestly think it's between Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 simply because of how many categories those are nominated in. I mean, last year I think it was Death Stranding was nominated in like every category and of course won Game of the Year. This was one of those things where I wanted to win. I wanted to win simply because not only do I think it's a good game, and I have not played the other games, so I'm not saying they're bad games, but I just want it to win to upset the internet. I just want to see people cry. Like,
Yes.
No joke. Oh my God, how could it win? Because it's people are gonna cry no matter what. It's an award show. Any award, there's good losers, and there's always gonna be people crying. But I think it will be an astronomical, great a sea of memes between the Animal Crossing lovers versus those that don't like it.
Yeah.
And I think it would be glorious, and I think we need it in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Jesse and you guys have said in the chat too, I mean, it's how a lot of people think of 2020. Apart from all the bad stuff that's happened this year, 2020 gave us Animal Crossing New Horizons, which was a saving grace of 2020, one of the few this year. So.
I was going to say, wasn't there like a year or two ago, there was like maybe even longer than that, but I thought there was like a meme with like Isabelle with, what was it, Snake or something like that, and it was like some sort of Call of Duty or something. I don't remember. I thought it was like some like hardcore game that has like guns and stuff.
Oh no, that was
like,
this year. That was with Isabelle and Doom Eternal because they both launched the exact same day.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, who knows? But it's a couple days away. Actually, by the time we finish up tonight, it's almost 1 day away. So, well, I guess technically 2 because it's at the end of the day on Thursday. But yeah, hopefully we watch along. And if you, again, another plug to join our Discord. You guys can chat live while the Game Awards are going on and join on our discussion and, share about all the stuff that you're excited to see and probably a lot of the stuff that you're disappointed to see. Like the same game winning over and over and over again. But maybe we'll have some exciting things to talk about as well. But that's pretty much for our big news that we got to talk about. A couple of quick stories, kind of headlines that we're going to hit before we move on and wrap up this evening. Barry, you got the first one.
Yeah. So it was leaked, and now it's official that Persona 5 Scramble is coming to the West as Persona 5 Strikers. Which is amazing. It is coming on February 23rd, 2021. And there are, for those physical lovers like myself, there are 2 actual pre-order bonuses. If you pre-order at GameStop, you can get a Joker pin. And what I feel is significantly better, if you pre-order at Best Buy, you get a Steelbook. So those are some nice incentives. And this is PS4 and Switch. This is a game that's like Hyrule Warriors, but for Persona. It is an actual continuation after Persona 5 Royal, and everything looks amazing on it, and I, for one, will be playing this day one.
Cool. Greg, tell us about the Game Awards and who's making a special appearance.
Well, believe it or not, Reggie Fils-Aime is actually going to be back at the Game Awards, so obviously he retired from Nintendo earlier this year, but then he joined up with that other company that I'm blanking on right now, but he will be at the Game Awards on December 10th, and he's looking for feedback on what category he thinks people would like him to present. If you were asking me, I would say he should definitely do the best Nintendo. I think there's a best Nintendo game category that they do at the Game Awards. If not, then obviously
family game is the best.
I think a more realistic
which is
approach
basically
would be
it. Yeah. Yeah, it's the best family game, which is basically the best Nintendo game category. Yeah, it'd be great if we could do the game of the year. That'd be really cool. kind of a cool honor for him for sure. Before we move into what's coming over the next week in terms of what's coming out and what we're looking forward to playing, we just want to take a moment to remind you guys as well to subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and follow us on social media at NintendoFuse on the main social medias out there. Be sure to follow us, and also of course join our Discord, because we really want to keep that conversation going with you guys. Of course, the links on the screen. It's also in our podcast show notes and the description down below on YouTube. We just love keeping that conversation going with you guys. So before we do wrap up, we're going to talk about what is coming up over the next week. We've got just a few games. This is we're kind of in that time of year where the list of new releases kind of goes down. And we have less and less things to really look forward to, but there still are a few. We're just going to be kind of scrolling through as we always do on Nintendo's website, just kind of showing you what's coming out. We had several games come out today, actually, including Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 and Doom Eternal. But then, as the next week goes along, a lot of games that kind of indie games that are coming out, ones that are kind of trying to get in right before the holiday season. Pixel Junk Eden 2, I know, is on some people's list that they're excited about. And then, if you're a big fan of the Warplanes games, Warplanes World War I Sky Aces is coming out. Also, a big collection of games of the Final Fantasy Legend series, the collection of Saga, is coming out on the 15th, so that's really, really exciting. If you haven't played those games, it's an excellent time to get into that classic collection of Final Fantasy Legends. What are you guys looking forward to playing over this next week? Maybe it's some new releases. Maybe it's some games that are still in your backlog. Maybe games that you've been working on for a while. Barry, what are you hoping to play over this next week?
Hoping to finish Immortals, and then from there, possibly doing Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us Part 2, or maybe a little Tony Hawk 1 and 2, which is the remakes. Still debating what I'm going to do. But of the games coming out, I'm really sad that Collection of Saga is not getting physical. That's something that should be physical. Those games I grew up with, those are the early Saga games, and they're definitely not easy. They are not, highly, intuitive, but for the Game Boy and for portable RPG, they were amazing.
Yeah, sure. Greg, what are you hoping to play?
I don't think I was going to be picking up anything that's going to be releasing over the next week, but I did pick up the Fire Emblem localization game that will be snapped on March 31st, so hopefully I'll get some time to play that. And I also would like to finish the Age of Calamity demo. That's pretty much the main two things on my list right now, and then hopefully I'll see what else I'll be playing this week.
Cool. Going to the chat, it looks like Jakester is still working on Trials and then going back to Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And then Jared is working on getting 100% in Age of Calamity, and then going to Cyberpunk. And also he's going to be playing Animal Crossing, Pokemon Go, and Mario Kart, of course, as well. And then, I think for me, it's going to be a little more Immortals, Phoenix Rising. Hopefully going to get the review out and things like that. Post some gameplay at some point as well, so be looking out for that. And then getting back to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, because I did put it on hold in order to play some Immortals, so I want to get some more time with that. And of course, I'm going to be playing Rocket League, but I'm really excited that tomorrow Season 2 drops for the free-to-play Season 2. So this is like the second Season 2, because they already went through like 8 seasons before, but this is like the new Season 2. There's some really cool stuff coming out tomorrow with that, so that'll be really exciting as well. We're going to be back next week, December 15th, with our Game of the Year awards for 2020. It's been a crazy year. It's almost over. And maybe 2021 will also be crazy. But at least we don't have to hear people say, well, it's 2020. Because there won't be anymore, but we're gonna figure out what the game of the year is for 2020 next week. We hope you will join us live. We absolutely love you guys joining live, especially on big episodes like Game of the Year awards. It's a really cool time to engage with you guys and interact with you in the chat and everything. So be sure to do that, especially if you've never joined us live. Be sure to make that happen, and if subscribe, share, all that stuff. That'd be so great. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this evening, or after the fact as well. I know some of you guys maybe listened to it in your morning commute. That's cool too. But Greg, any parting thoughts before we wrap up episode 215?
No, not really. Just definitely can't wait until next week and be talking about all the best games this year. So it's going to be quite a test to be going through everything that I have played and seeing what actually came out this year versus the year before.
Yeah, cool. Barry, any closing thoughts?
Just everyone, be safe and play some games and have fun, and hopefully we have some cool stuff announced on Thursday, and hopefully you all join us next week for our Game of the Year awards, which is always a fun show, and we want to hear your awards, so please, write them down and provide them, and we'll read them out there, and we'll make this a really cool community award show.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for tuning in once again, and we'll see you next week for episode 216, Game of the Year Awards 2020. Happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.